What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some routes with Justin Jefferson versus Jalen Ramsey. So we're going to be talking about some routes where Justin Jefferson was able to get separation, and then some routes where Jalen Ramsey was able to lock up Justin Jefferson. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it can teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to know the daily drills you should be doing on the field to improve your route running, your press releases, everything that goes along with the wide receiver position, check out that very first link in the description below for our 28-day on-field wide receiver workout plan. It's a 4-week daily schedule with all the drills wide receivers should do mapped out with sets, reps, and we also give you a video example of each drill. So check out that very first link in the description below if interested, fellas. Let's get started with this video. So now we're looking at this first route here. Justin Jefferson's at the bottom of the screen, obviously matched up with Jalen Ramsey. So we're looking at this curl route here off of Justin Jefferson's third outside step. So let's play this thing full speed and then we'll break it down. So anytime that you guys are going up against zone coverage, right, it is super important that we are selling what? We are selling fade, right? So when I come up to the line and I have a DB, he's outside shade, sometimes even when he's inside shade, it could be off man, it could be zone. When he is off, where do you think he does not want to get beat deep? Or where he doesn't want to get beat. I kind of just gave it away. He doesn't want to get beat deep. He doesn't want to get beat with the fade. So we have to make sure that every single route that I run kind of builds off of that fade route. So Justin Jefferson is going to be running a curl route here. So a lot of times, especially in high school offenses, youth offenses, wide receiver coaches talk a lot about yardage. They'll say, hey, you're running a curl route and it's going to be 12 back to 10 yards. Now, when you get to the next level, when you get to that college level, that terminology kind of goes out the window when it's zone coverage. Everything is based off of steps. So like you would be running this curl route off of your third outside step. So what I mean by that is Justin Jefferson's third step that he takes with his right foot is the foot that snaps him down. And I'm going to tie this into the route, I promise, in a second, but I want to talk about this first. So when he comes off the ball, watch how he does this route. That's his first outside. That's his second outside. Then on the third outside, that's that like trigger step, if you will. Third outside is the step that snaps you down. Now, when you guys are training routes, when you guys are running routes, anytime that you're working a situation against off or zone coverage, I like going off of steps. I don't like putting a cone out there for my wide receivers, have them run up and break down around the cone, because I feel like sometimes they could start to chop their stride, they could start to slow down because they're so worried about the cone, and that takes away from them selling vertical. You have to be able to sell vertical on all three outside steps and have to be able to break right on that third outside step, because that is what will get the DB to bail off. To get this DB to bail, Justin Jefferson needs to sell fade by doing three things: running hard, running in full stride, and running full speed. Those are the main keys. So you see, as soon as he gets off the ball, watch his pad level. Pad level stays forward. Nothing about his pad level is high. He's taking full strides. He's running as hard as he can because he knows that is what it takes to get this DB to bail. Any DB. And Jalen Ramsey is one of the most disciplined, most talented DBs in the NFL. So if this can work on him, imagine what this could do on a high school DB or a youth DB. So you have to make sure when we're coming off that ball, full stride, full speed, good pad level. So now when I hit that third outside, it's easier for you to snap down because you have that step count. You're not worried about, getting to a specific yardage. Now, if this were press coverage, it'd be a different story. You'd have to understand both, because you can't, when it comes to running routes off of steps and it's press coverage, and let's say you have to do a release, let's say this DB's right in front of your face, you got to do a release. I would say it's more so about getting to a landmark. You got to know where 12 yards is, and you got to break down or snap down right at that landmark. You can't worry about fighting press, fighting a DB's hands, and then also count your steps. It comes down to being able to understand the landmark and understand the steps of the route when it comes to this specific scenario. But great job here by Justin Jefferson, pushing vertical, running full stride, running full speed to get a zone coverage DB to bail off. I'm going to play this full speed, and then we're going to show a negative example from Justin Jefferson and how he can improve on a route and why Jalen Ramsey was able to lock it up. So let's play this full speed. So great job pushing vertical and breaking right on that third outside step to be able to win and get separation by accelerating back to that ball. All right, so now, this route here, this is going to be kind of like a stutter go. And so this stutter go from Justin Jefferson, obviously we got this kind of like inside shade look here from Jalen Ramsey. This stutter go is a good example of how you really need to sell that specific double move route by actually changing levels and dropping your hips. So let's play this full speed. So Justin Jefferson comes off the ball here, running full speed, doing a good job, tries to drop his hips, but it's more of like a like a bend at the waist, if you will. That doesn't really threaten Jalen Ramsey of a stop route because, and here's why. Like when you're running a stop and go, a hitch and go, you have to run the first route first. Like a slug is an easy one to understand. You're like a slant and go. You have to run the slant first. So if you're running a stop and go, you have to run the stop route first. You don't have to completely turn to the quarterback, but you have to stop your momentum and you have to slow yourself down. So when Justin Jefferson does this route here, he's bursting up vertical. And again, obviously Jefferson, one of the best route runners in the game, one of the best wide receivers in the game right now. But even the best in the world make mistakes sometimes when it comes down to the routes. So when he goes to make this break, you see how he kind of like, his chest is almost like touching his knee right there. That shows that he's kind of not so much dropping his hips, but like bending at the waist, if you will. Now, if you're running full speed into a break, like if you're trying to run like a curl route, like in the last example, and you break like that and you're like leaning forward, what do you think is probably going to happen? You're probably going to drift forward, right? You're not going to be able to put the brakes on right on a dime and make that tight cut. You're probably going to drift because you're way too far out ahead of yourself. So same idea on a stop and go. When we are trying to get a DB to drive on a stop route, I actually have to like put the brakes on. I actually have to stop and try to stop on a dime to get him to really crash down on this thing. But if that DB feels me when I'm running this route and I don't actually snap down, I break and I kind of drift up field a little bit, he's not threatened by the stop route. We have to actually put the brakes on if we want to try to draw this guy in. And that's just something he doesn't do. So Ramsey's able to stay right on it. He's able to squeeze him towards that sideline, and that is pretty much an impossible throw for that quarterback. Jefferson would have to make a hell of a catch if he's going to win on this route. So fellas, just make sure, again, I showcase this to tell you guys some of the mistakes, some of the positives from route running when it's a wide receiver DB matchup. When you guys run that double move, you have to run the first route first, whether that's a post corner, out and up, stop and go like so. And when it is a stop and go, let's drop my hips. Let's decelerate to draw that DB in so I get separation over the top. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Again, right idea, but we just can't bend at the waist, fellas. We have to drop my hips down. I have to decelerate. I cannot drift back upfield. All right, so now this last example here, this is a route that Justin Jefferson wins. And this is pretty much all you can really do in this situation if you're Justin Jefferson. There's not much else he could do to get a ton of separation because he's not super open, but he is open. So we have this outside shade kind of like off man coverage look here from Jalen Ramsey. Now, some of you might ask, why would a DB be playing off man? Why would he even be playing man coverage outside leverage? So I want you guys to take a look at Justin Jefferson's split here because he's the outside wide receiver. Ball is going to be on the right hash, and he has cut his split down to where he's not only on the top of the numbers, he's got like a really condensed split. So usually speaking, wide receivers do not cut their split down like this if they're going to be running an inside breaking route. Like maybe they're going to be running like a drag. Ramsey's completely fine with that because what does he probably have to the inside if he's outside leverage? Probably has safety help, right? Probably has some kind of help. So if we just take off and run to the inside right now, he's completely okay with that. I mean, not okay with getting beat, but he's willing to give that up because he has help to the inside. He's playing outside shade because of this split. He is expecting, an out route, a corner route, maybe like a slot, almost like some kind of slot fade concept, if you will. So that's why he's outside shade, to take that away and to make it difficult on Jefferson. So when you guys do have a route, like a dig route, like a post, or like a dig, like a post, you have to understand how you can attack this DB's leverage to create a bigger window for the QB. So I'm going to play this full speed. So he comes off the ball here. Now I want you to see at the break point, you see how he gives that hard cut into Ramsey's leverage. And there's the safety help that we were talking about, right? But when you guys are here, and let's say you have to run this like dig, a lot of wide receivers, they'll see this outside shade coverage and they'll just be like, okay, I'm just going to go round it off and go run. But that's exactly what that DB wants you to do. He's going to get hands into you. He's going to squeeze you to the inside. And when you run that dig and you got a DB right here, and then you got a safety over here, that's a very small window for the quarterback. So what Justin Jefferson does a great job of is, he takes the inside release. You're taking what the DB gives you. He's outside shade. But at the break point, I want you to see how he gets into his leverage. He steps into Ramsey's leverage. That is how you would want to play this thing. If he was hip to hip with you running downfield, you would maybe want to lean into him a little bit with your upper half. But that cut forces him to kind of stay honest to the outside, which can create a bigger window between the DB and the safety for the quarterback to throw the ball. I know it's not a huge window. I know this isn't an example where he broke his ankles, but at the end of the day, fellas, you don't have to break the DB's ankles every time. You got to be able to get separation, create a window for your quarterback, and be able to win on this route. So that's a great job there by Justin Jefferson, understanding that. You have to understand leverage, fellas. If you're running like, let's say, for example, he's inside leverage off man, you would want to go right at the DB's outside shoulder, try to flip his hips, slip underneath. It's a bigger window for the QB rather than he's inside shade, you attack him, he keeps his leverage, and then you're running this route over the middle of the field with no separation. So you got to understand how to attack leverage if you want to be a quarterback-friendly wide receiver. And this is a great example of that. It's not flashy. It's not something that's going to get a bunch of views on Instagram, but it's something that can help you guys get separation. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Jefferson at the break point, getting into Ramsey's leverage to win on that dig. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, fellas, if you'd like a full 4-week wide receiver on-field workout schedule, everything wide receivers need to do to improve their route running, press releases, their hands, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.